What if everything you've been taught about happiness is wrong? You've probably heard that you need to hold on tight, fight for what you want, or keep others close no matter what. But what if clinging too tightly is exactly what's holding you back? Here's the hard truth. Attachment, the need to control people, outcomes, or emotions, might feel like security, but it's actually your biggest source of pain. It's why anxiety takes over. Relationships feel like a battlefield, and your self-worth fluctuates like the stock market. But here's the twist. The freedom you crave isn't found in controlling more. It's found in letting go. Detachment isn't about not caring or shutting out your emotions. It's about breaking free from the chains of control and trusting in your own personal power. Imagine waking up without that heavy weight of fear, without overthinking every text, every conversation, every possible outcome. Detachment gives you the inner strength to face life with confidence, resilience, and, above all, peace. Are you ready to find out how detachment can heal your heart and unlock the life you were meant to live? Keep reading, because by the end of this journey, you'll understand why letting go is the most powerful thing you'll ever learn. Detachment isn't about being cold or shutting off your emoticons. It's about finding clarity in who you are outside of people, goals, or even outcomes. Imagine yourself as a cake, complete and perfect on its own. Others might be the decorations, adding something extra, but they're never an essential ingredient of the cake itself. When you embrace detachment, you realize you're complete in your own right, not someone waiting to be completed by anyone or anything. This concept might feel counterintuitive at first. Isn't loving or striving tied to holding on tightly? Actually, detachment is the opposite. It gives you the emotional freedom to care deeply without losing yourself. For instance, instead of obsessing over whether someone likes you, you can focus on your own self-worth. Knowing their approval doesn't define your value. It doesn't mean you don't have feelings. You're just not tethered to external validation. By learning detachment, you step into a powerful space where you can thrive as your true self. It's not about giving up, but about gaining independence from things you cannot control. This shift lets you set personal boundaries while maintaining your emotional balance and focus. Speaking of emotional balance, why does this mindset have such a profound effect on the way we navigate anxiety? Detachment is like a breath of fresh air for your mind and soul. It empowers you to step back from anxiety-inducing situations and reconnect with your individuality. When you're no longer tied to controlling every outcome or pleasing everyone, you unlock an unparalleled sense of personal power. Suddenly, life stops feeling like a constant race to chase stability outside yourself. It becomes about building that stability within. Imagine how freeing that could be. And here's the beauty of detachment. It not only benefits you, but also the people around you. By letting go of expectations and the need to control, you give others space to breathe and be themselves. In relationships, for example, this creates healthier dynamics where both individuals feel seen and respected. It's not about abandoning care. It's about understanding that you can love fully and still maintain your own center. This freedom often inspires deeper, more authentic connections. Detachment also strengthens your resilience, a skill you didn't even know you needed. When life throws curveballs, you're able to weather them because your happiness isn't tethered to one specific plan or person. It's like building a solid foundation for yourself, one that supports growth, no matter the storm. But what happens when attachment takes over? Spoiler alert, it can wreak havoc. When attachment takes over, life can feel like a never-ending roller coaster, and not the fun kind. The tighter you grip onto control, whether it's over a person's actions, an outcome, or how others perceive you, the more you lose your own balance, checking someone's phone obsessively or anxiously overthinking how your decisions might affect others. These behaviors may feel like safety nets, but in reality, they only fuel your anxiety and create more instability. Excessive attachment can also lead to self-sabotage. When you're hyper-focused on outcomes or trying to fit into someone else's expectations, you lose sight of your own values and self-worth. For instance, staying in an unhealthy relationship, clinging to the hope that it will improve, only drains your energy and limits your personal growth. This constant cycle of trying to control external factors becomes exhausting, not just emotionally, but mentally as well. The irony is that control, which feels like a tool for peace, ends up being the main source of stress. True peace comes from realizing that control is an illusion. especially when it comes to people. By releasing the need to micromanage every outcome, you reclaim your center and redirect that energy into building something that truly matters, yourself. And it's this recalibrating of focus that can significantly reduce anxiety, a concept we'll explore in more depth next. Anxiety often stems from one powerful craving: control. We get anxious because we want certainty, certainty about how others feel, certainty that our plans won't collapse, or certainty that we're making the right choices. But the truth is, trying to control outcomes, or worse, people, is like trying to hold on to water with your bare hands. It slips right through, and all you're left with is frustration and fear. Detachment steps in as an antidote, helping you release what you cannot control while finding peace in what you can. This doesn't mean you won't feel emotions. In fact, detachment encourages you to feel them fully, but without letting them steer your life. For example, instead of letting anxiety spiral when someone doesn't text you back, detachment allows you to pause, breathe, and realize your stability isn't dependent on their response. The key is learning to identify your emotions as visitors, not permanent residents, and finding strength in observing them instead of clinging to them. The beauty of detachment is how it recenters your focus. Anxiety shifts from being about external chaos to an opportunity for inner self-discovery. You begin to understand where that anxious energy is coming from and how to redirect it towards self-growth. What if you started trusting yourself as the source of your stability? That's the game changer. Speaking of self-trust, let's dive into how personal experiences can teach us the power of letting go. Sometimes, life teaches us detachment in the toughest ways. Think about heartbreaks, betrayals, or unexpected setbacks, moments that force us to reevaluate what we hold on to. Take infidelity, for example. It's devastating, but for some, it becomes the catalyst for drawing boundaries and reclaiming self-worth. What once felt like the end of the world can later be seen as the exact event that pushed you toward growth and clarity. Painful, absolutely necessary for self-discovery. Often, yes. When you shift your perspective, these experiences transform from "why did this happen to me?" into "what did this teach me?" Instead of attaching your value to someone who mistreated you, you learn to anchor it to yourself. For instance, leaving a toxic relationship might feel terrifying at first, but it opens the door to cultivating personal power and becoming stronger than you ever imagined. It's not about forgetting the pain, it's about reframing it as a stepping stone toward freedom and self-improvement. Life has a way of throwing lessons at you, some subtle, others like a slap in the face. But the silver lining is always there, as long as you're willing to see it. Detachment gives you the space to appreciate the lessons hiding in the discomfort and use them to build something greater within yourself. And when you embrace this mindset, you naturally transition into the next step, the beautiful process of discovering who you truly are. Self-discovery is like peeling back layers you didn't even know you had. When you detach from the need for external validation, it's almost like meeting yourself for the first time. Who are you without the opinions of others shaping your actions? What do you deeply love, value, and believe in? These questions might feel daunting, but they're the beginning of uncovering your true self. It's not about reinventing who you are. It's about rediscovering the version of you that's always been there, waiting. Think of it as becoming your own best friend, instead of chasing approval or trying to fit into someone else's expectations. You focus on creating a life that aligns with your personal power. For instance, if you've spent years trying to perfect yourself for a partner, detachment allows you to shift your energy toward your own self-growth. Have you ever wanted to try a new hobby, explore a passion, or just spend time alone without guilt? This is your chance to embrace that freedom. The beauty of self-discovery is that the more you honor your individuality, the stronger you become. It's like building an unshakable foundation that no storm can tear down. And once you step into that space, you'll notice something remarkable. The tension of seeking fades, and the energy to truly grow takes its place. But how can you cultivate this detachment and tap into this transformative inner strength? That's where certain powerful practices come into play. Cultivating detachment takes practice. It's not something you wake up mastering. One powerful tool is meditation, which helps you observe your thoughts without clinging to them. You can start simple. Set aside 5 minutes a day to sit quietly and focus on your breath when emotions arise. Anxiety about a relationship, fear of failure. Acknowledge them, but let them pass like clouds in the sky. This practice builds the foundation for responding to life's challenges with calm rather than reactivity. Another game changer is visualization. Imagine the version of yourself that is free from attachment. The person who steps into rooms unapologetically, trusts their journey, and radiates confidence. Create a mental picture of this future you and align your actions with that image. For example, if you visualize yourself as someone who confidently sets boundaries, practice saying no to something small this week. Visualization isn't just daydreaming. It's creating a mental blueprint for who you want to become. Finally, don't underestimate the power of journaling and cognitive reframing. Write out your fears, your triggers, and your inner dialogue, then challenge it. If you constantly think, "What if I lose this relationship?" Reframe it. "What if this relationship isn't aligned with me and I gain peace instead?" These small shifts in mindset allow you to break free from thought patterns that keep you stuck. By practicing these techniques, you create the space for freedom and empowerment to blossom. Detachment in relationships doesn't mean pulling away emotionally. It means striking a balance where you love without losing yourself. It's the realization that no one person is responsible for your happiness or self-worth. Think of it this way: your life is like a thriving garden, and relationships are beautiful flowers you plant. But your garden doesn't depend on any one flower to bloom. When you embrace detachment, it becomes easier to appreciate the connection without clinging to it for survival. This approach fosters healthier dynamics in relationships. For example, instead of obsessing over why someone hasn't texted back or what they think of you, you can focus on maintaining your own center. When you show up to a relationship as your whole self, you inspire mutual respect and freedom. Your partner feels safe to be themselves, and so do you. Detachment eliminates the need for games or control, creating space for true connection. The beauty of detachment is that it reduces the emotional push and pull that often causes tension in relationships. You're no longer trying to mold yourself to fit someone else's expectations or chasing validation. Instead, you're able to simply be empowered, self-assured, and grounded. But this principle doesn't just apply to relationships. What about our attachment to results and external achievements? Detaching from outcomes is about freeing yourself from the need to control how every situation unfolds. It's realizing that your worth isn't tied to whether you land that job, hit that goal, or get someone's approval. Too often we obsess over specific results, thinking, "Once I get there, I'll finally be happy." But what if the journey itself holds more value than the destination? Embracing detachment can transform how you approach your goals. What once felt like pressure, for example, maybe you're working hard toward a promotion or a personal milestone. While ambition is great, being fixated on the outcome can create unnecessary anxiety. Instead, focus on the process. What are you learning along the way? How is this experience shaping you? When you stop gripping the end result so tightly, you open yourself to unexpected opportunities that might align better with your self-growth and personal power. Detaching from outcomes also allows you to enjoy the present moment. Think about it. How many times have you missed the beauty of the process because you were too busy worrying about the finish line? By letting go of rigid expectations, you invite peace and trust into your life. This trust becomes the foundation for a deeper sense of self-acceptance, something we'll explore next. Self-acceptance is the ultimate act of freedom. It's acknowledging, "I am enough exactly as I am," without constantly chasing external validation or trying to meet impossible expectations. When you accept yourself, flaws and all, you stop relying on relationships, achievements, or outcomes to define your worth. It's a liberating realization. You've had everything you needed within you all along. Imagine the peace that comes from no longer needing to prove anything to anyone, not even yourself. This journey toward acceptance can start in simple ways. Instead of criticizing yourself for not meeting a goal, focus on what you've gained in the process. Maybe you didn't hit a specific milestone, but you developed resilience and discovered inner strength you didn't know you had. Self-acceptance is like being your own cheerleader. It turns failures into stepping stones and growth into something to celebrate. The beauty of self-acceptance is how it transforms your relationships with others. When you embrace who you are, you stop holding others responsible for filling the gaps within you. You become someone who radiates confidence, attracting healthier interactions and creating space for deeper emotional connections. And as you cultivate this inner peace, you start to notice another shift. Your reactions to life's uncertainties become slower, steadier, and more grounded. How can you tell when detachment truly starts working? The signs that detachment is working are subtle but profound. First, you'll notice a natural decline in emotional reactivity. Situations that used to trigger you, like someone canceling plans or receiving unexpected criticism, no longer shake your inner stability. Instead of overanalyzing or spiraling into fear, you pause, breathe, and respond calmly. It's like moving from stormy seas to still waters. You finally feel grounded in yourself. Another major shift is the release of obsessive control. You stop micromanaging every situation or person and learn to live with trust. Have you ever caught yourself checking your phone compulsively or attempting to predict someone's next move? With detachment, that anxious grip loosens. You stop attaching your self-worth to every interaction, and instead, you trust that whatever is meant for you will come in its own time. The peace this brings is unmatched, but perhaps the biggest sign is a deep, unshakable feeling of inner freedom. You begin to feel emotionally stable, regardless of what's happening around you. Whether it's uncertainty at work, a rocky relationship, or failed outcomes, you remain centered, knowing your value isn't tied to temporary circumstances. It's not perfection, but progress. And the best part, once detachment starts working, you're more open to limitless personal growth. So how can all this newfound inner strength translate into your daily life? So here's the big question. Are you ready to let go of what's been holding you back? Detachment isn't just a concept. It's a practice that can shift the way you see yourself, your relationships, and the world around you. Imagine the version of yourself who acts from a place of personal power, who's unshaken by fear or anxiety, and who no longer attaches their happiness to people or results. That version is within reach, but it starts with one decision: to trust yourself. Take a moment to reflect. What areas of your life could benefit from a little less control and a lot more freedom? Is there someone or something you're clinging to that's draining your energy? What small practice, like meditation or journaling, can you start today to move toward this freedom? Remember, the best time to make that change is right now. You already have everything you need inside of you. If this resonates, make a promise to keep showing up for yourself. And hey, speaking of showing up, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell. This is just the beginning of the journey. We've got so much more to explore together, from personal growth to mastering relationships. Let's keep evolving, one step at a time.